I wouldn't blame you if you thought there was only one way to earn money in the stock market, by the stock going up. But options traders, they know something else. Instead of relying solely on those stocks going up, did you know you could generate income by selling options and collecting premiums on a regular basis? The problem, though, is that many beginners, they assume that selling options is risky, when in reality it's just as risky as crossing the street. Look both ways, and you too can generate decent income, provided you use the right strategies and manage risk effectively. And that's why in this video, I'm going to show you a realistic roadmap for generating $1,000 a month using options on an account as little as $10,000. Don't think it's possible? Well, stick with me to the end, because you're going to learn three things. First, how to choose the right income strategy for your account size. Second, how to find high probability trades using Barchart. And third, how to manage your positions so that one bad trade doesn't wipe out months of gains. So let's start by going over the strategies to get you started. When it comes to creating an income with options, you're going to be selling them. And we've got my personal favorites. Credit spreads. These are your bear calls and bull puts. You'll be buying and selling the same type of option, resulting in a net credit. And these are usually the best choice for smaller accounts because they offer a defined risk and a high probability of profit. Now, for these type of strategies, your trade will immediately result in a net credit, or at least generates income for you as the position moves along. Selling options is what drives the income generating part of the strategy. But whenever you sell an option, don't forget you're also taking on risk. Think of your maximum loss as the true exposure on the trade. That's the amount of money you're putting at risk, regardless of how much premium you collect up front. For example, if a trade has a maximum loss of $500, then you want to treat that position as if you have $500 at stake, because in a worst case scenario, that's what you could lose. It doesn't mean you will, but it's a non-zero chance, kind of like crossing the road. So regardless of what strategy you choose, rule number one is always the same. Don't assign too much risk to one position. And new traders, they do this all the time. They chase the highest premiums only to get burned at some point before expiration. Now, as a general rule, maybe with the exception of a covered call, I don't want any single trade risking more than about 5% of my total account. Maybe we could stretch it to as far as 10% in the right situation, but that trade will need to be managed. And of course, I'll show you how to do it later in the video. Now, that might sound conservative, and it is. And that's because growing a small account through options trading is more about staying in the market than about winning big. Options trading is a probabilities game. The longer you stay solvent, the longer you can keep trading, the more chances you have of generating more income. And that's why trade selection matters so much. If you're consistently entering high probability trades on quality stocks, you'll have tilted the odds in your favor before the trade even begins. So how do we do that? Well, let's say we're starting with a $10,000 account, and the absolute most I'd be willing to risk is $1,000 a trade. So let's have a look and see what that might look like. We can start with a bear call. The goal of a bear call is for the stock to trade below a certain price at expiration. If that happens, the trade makes you money. So to increase your chances of success and to give yourself a little breathing room, you start with strikes above the stock's current trading price. That way, you already start the trade in a winning position. And all that's needed is for the stock to stay below your short strike price. Now, of course, I'm giving you the Cliff Notes version, but if you do want a deep dive, I talk more about bear calls in this video up here. So let's jump to Barchart's bear call screener. We'll go ahead and scan the QR code on the screen or click the link in the description to follow along. Now, here's the results page, and all of these are fine, at least at the time of recording, but if you like, you can actually further customize the results by clicking on Set Filters. Here, you'll see the default filters for bear calls, and we can change a couple of these to tilt the odds further in our favor. First, change the days to expiration to between 30 and 45 days, then select weekly expirations. Then I'm going to put a tick under ETF on the security type to include them in the results. And after that, I like to add a couple of other filters, starting with the maximum profit. I set that to look for trades with $1 and up in premium per share. Does that mean you're only going to make $1? No, it's $100 because options are for 100 shares. But this is where it gets interesting. Maximum loss. I'm going to set this to less than $10, which times 100 is $1,000. After that, I'm going to add IV rank, and this is probably the very best volatility metric you'll ever learn. Here's how it works. So we have implied volatility, or IV, which measures how much movement the options market is pricing in. The higher the IV, the larger the expected move. We just don't know the direction. But IV rank, it gives us even more context by comparing today's IV to its range over the past year. And that value is represented between 1 and 100. A high IV rank means that options are relatively expensive right now compared to their own history, while a low IV rank means that options are relatively cheap. But here's the thing about IV rank. As a rule, high IV rank must come down at some point. It cannot stay high forever. So what do we do with that? Well, we sell options with higher IV rank and let it come down. So that's why I'm going to set IV rank to 50% and above. Lastly, I add the market cap filter and limit the results to large cap and mega cap stocks. This ensures high liquidity because these are some of the most traded stocks in the market. Then I hit see results. There we have it, a list of bear call trades that all meet my criteria, arranged from lowest to highest probability of loss. Easy as that. And as you can see here, just these 7 trades are enough to reach $1,000 in total net credit without exceeding $1,000 in potential losses per trade. Now, note here that I said net credit and not profit, and I'll explain why in a minute. And of course, all of this is at the time of recording. It's just an example. No one is suggesting that you trade these ones, but it does give you a good idea. So now that we have the list of trade ideas, would you open all these positions all at once just because they meet your criteria? Well, of course not. You need to check some other details first for a stronger confirmation. And to do that, we can start with the P&L chart icon, where there we're going to actually find the important metrics like the Greeks, volatility, and even the actual trade details themselves. You can also check the trend tab to confirm that technical indicators are still pointing to bearish price action. Then there's the expected move tab. Here we can see the range that the stock is expected to trade in by the expiration date. But one important thing I want to show you here is this. The blue earnings line. This shows us when the company is expected to release its next financial results. Since earnings announcements can trigger larger than normal price swings, I generally don't want to hold short options through earnings. Now, I could have put this in the filters earlier, but I prefer to decide on a case-by-case basis. Nothing wrong either way. Now, let's say you sold a bear call spread, you collected some income. What do you do next? Well, we have to consider our early exit. And early exits fit perfectly with the next part of this video because a common mistake that retail traders make is holding positions all the way to expiration just to squeeze out the last few dollars of premium. And on paper, that may sound totally logical. After all, you sold an option and let's say for $100 and now maybe it's worth $20. Well, instead of buying back the option and getting that $80, you might think, why not wait and collect the remaining $20? Perfectly logical. The problem is that the last portion of profit often comes at the highest risk, especially with earnings coming up. For example, let's say you sold this bear call spread on Disney and collected $123. The company is going to release its earnings on August 5th, which is 16 days before expiration. Now, if it were me, I would close this trade and keep 80% of that $123 premium before the earnings release. That way, I lock in roughly $98 in profit while avoiding the uncertainty of holding through earnings. Remember, any net credit you receive from selling options isn't considered profit, at least not until the trade is crystallized. Sure, I might miss out on the remaining $25 if the trade expires worthless, but who cares? In my view, it's simply not worth risking a profitable trade just to squeeze out those last few dollars. Trading options to generate income is never about maximizing profits on every single trade. Leave that to the day traders. As an option seller, your goal is to consistently generate income while minimizing the chances of a large loss. By exiting early, you reduce your risk and free up your buying power sooner so then you can move on to the next trade. And that is exactly how you turn potential $1,000 a month in income into realized profits. So that was bear calls, where we expect stocks to move in a neutral to bearish direction. But there's also the reverse available. That's bull puts. With this strategy, we expect the stock to move upwards, which over time they usually do. So just like before, we're going to be buying a put at one strike price, but this time we're going to sell another at a lower strike price. And you can find the bull put screener in the same place as the bear call. The process entirely the same. Results page, set filters, and you know what? You can even use the same values that I changed and modified for bear calls. It's really that simple. So here's a quick example trade. A bull put spread on the Qs that starts with a $108 net credit and an $892 maximum potential loss that expires in 44 days with an IV rank of 66%. Again, all within this very same trading criteria I said earlier. And even better, this trade has just a 12% probability of loss. As long as the Qs trade above $645 at expiration, the options expire worthless, and that net credit crystallizes into actual profit. Honestly, I prefer selling bull put spreads because I'm a bit of an optimist. Plus, markets usually move up over time. Now, eventually in your trading career, you're going to encounter a trade that, well, it just doesn't go your way. So what do you do when that happens? Well, first of all, don't panic. Let's go back to our bear call example with Disney. So in that trade, you would have sold the 105-115 bear call spread, collecting $135. You expect Disney to stay below $105 by expiration. But say a week later, hypothetically, Disney rallies sharply after a major announcement, and the stock moves near your short $105 strike. At this point, your spread is under pressure. And if the rally continues, you could face a loss. So what do you do? Well, one option is to simply close the trade and accept it. And sometimes that's absolutely the right decision. Look, you're not going to win every single trade. It's not statistically possible. But it doesn't mean you can't do anything about it, though. If you're still bearish on Disney, at least in the short term, your plan B is going to be rolling the position. Rolling simply means closing your existing spread and simultaneously opening a new one with a later expiration date, usually at higher strike prices. For example, you may buy back the original spread and sell a new one with higher strikes expiring a month later. Now, if you do that, you accomplish two things here. You give your trade more time and breathing room to work as you expected. And in some cases, since the stock moved up so much, you can even collect some additional premium when you roll. So guess what? You win no matter what. Of course, there are going to be times when rolling turns into a loss, and that's really the most important point here. Rolling isn't a get-out-of-jail-free card. Not every losing trade is going to require an adjustment. You have to apply it tactically. Personally, I'd only consider rolling if my original thesis on the stock remains intact. If the technical trend is completely reversed, or if some new information changes my outlook, well, I'd probably just close the trade and move on rather than continue throwing money at a bad position. And remember, rolling should improve your odds. The goal here is not to avoid losses entirely. That's impossible in options trading or any other trading for that matter. The goal is to keep losses manageable while allowing your winners to compound over time. Now comes the part that many traders skip, and that's reviewing your performance. At the end of every month, I usually like to go through every trade and ask myself a few simple questions. Did I size my positions correctly? Did I enter trades with a clear thesis? Did I take profits too early, too late, or at the right time? And most importantly, did I manage my losers properly? Remember, the goal during the first 30 days is to build a repeatable and reliable process. And that's where your trading journal is going to come in. For every single trade, record the strategy you used, your entry and exit prices, the premium you collected, your maximum risk, and of course the reason for entering the trade in the first place. And over time, you're going to start to notice some patterns. Maybe your bull put spreads perform better than your bear calls. Maybe you consistently lose money when trading through earnings. Or maybe you discover that just certain sectors work better for your own trading style. This information is incredibly valuable because it allows you to refine your process and improve over time. And finally, we need to decide what to do with the premiums that are collected. If you need to use the money, say in retirement, well, go ahead and take it. But if you want to grow your account, reinvesting will probably make the most sense. And as your account grows, you'll be able to trade more and by extension, earn more. With a larger account, you're going to have even more strategies at your disposal. For example, you've got the cash secured put. It's one of the simplest income strategies that you can find. Here, you sell a put option and collect the premium up front in exchange for agreeing to buy the underlying stock at a specific price if it falls below your strike price at expiration. Notice how I said cash secured? Well, you can also use margin if you prefer, but securing the trade with cash is often viewed as being safer. Now, we do have a very in-depth video about selling puts, which you can check out up here. Then we have covered calls, and this allows you to generate additional income from stocks you already own, although it does cap your upside potential. So you do have to own at least 100 shares of a stock, and then you can sell call options on those shares. And we have a deep dive on that video as well. Now, a lot of you have mentioned in the comments that you also like to trade poor man's covered calls, and they work similarly to covered calls, except instead of buying 100 shares, you buy a deep in-the-money leaps call and then sell shorter-dated calls against it. The income you make from selling the covered calls offsets the price you paid for the long call, and it significantly reduces the amount of money you need to get started. And we have a deep dive on that topic if you want to check it out up here as well. But just the same as with bull puts and bear calls, we need to be careful when picking our trades. And that's really what successful options income trading comes down to. You choose the right strategy for your account size, you find high probability trades on quality companies, and most importantly, you manage risk so that one bad trade doesn't erase months of progress. Now, will you win every single time? Absolutely not. And will you make $1,000 a month? Maybe. It's going to depend on your buying power. But if you follow a repeatable process, manage your positions properly, and stay disciplined, you're going to put yourself in a position to generate income month after month and year after year. But now I want to turn it over to you. Which income strategy do you prefer? The bear call or bull put? Or would you prefer selling cash secured puts or covered calls? And what's been your biggest challenge when trying to generate income with options? Let me know all of that and more in the comments below. And while you're there, if you found the video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe because it really does help others find the video, it supports the channel, and it makes sure that you don't miss out on my next deep dive. Well, that's it for me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again here on YouTube. Bye for now.